Hello, loves. How are you this week? Just want to check in because this is medicine of the soul and community is important to our soul. I want to talk about grace. That's a big word. Having grace for ourselves, for others, for the things in our lives. But in particular, I want to talk about grace for ourselves. Because sometimes it's easier to give than it is to receive for ourselves. It's easier to give out grace to others, understanding to others, but when it comes to ourselves, how many of us always are their harshest critic? I know I'm not the only one. I know that it's easier for me to give grace to others than it is to myself. But why is it important? Well, when you're on this soul journey, that means that you will start unraveling who you are, what you like, what triggers you, what makes you uncomfortable, because maybe there is a worthiness wound that keeps reoccurring, or maybe there is something that keeps coming up in your life, some pattern that no matter how hard you try, no matter how deeply you go into it, it keeps coming up again and again. And you know what happens sometimes when that comes up again and again? It's because you're not giving yourself grace for the fact that you're going through it again. But each time you go through something, you'll notice that you pick up on it faster, that it doesn't take as long for you to move through it. And that's because you're growing each time. Every moment that we move forward and take a step back, we are still further than where we were in that moment before we took a step forward. So think of it as like you're on a spiral staircase up and you come across something in your life that trickles you down. Like you didn't pass a test. You're in school and you didn't pass a test that you studied really, really hard for. Or maybe you just didn't get the grade that you wanted. Well, you took the test and you didn't fail. And yeah, you didn't get the grade that you wanted, but you still passed. So that already maybe isn't the 2 steps forward. Maybe it's only 1 step. But guess what? That is closer to your end goal than you not studying, you not doing anything, and you failing. So even though it might look like we're doing all this healing work, we're unraveling, we're, committing to ourselves, we're devoted to our practices, we are in growth mindset, we're always going to continue to grow. We're doing all of these things, and then we still come across something from years ago, or we still come across that thought pattern that just won't let up. We're doing all of this subconscious work, and yet we still have some things that linger. But let me ask you, do you give yourself grace for the fact that you're even recognizing that you're going through it again? Are you allowing yourself to feel it, to understand that it's different this time? It's not the same as that first time, or second time, or third time, or however many times you went through it. It's not the same because you're not the same. You're evolving, and the things that you come up against that are the same in retrospect are also evolving, but you are coming out of it, meaning like your feelings are shifting out of it. And the more you go through it, the more you cycle through it, the more you'll come to see how far you have evolved. And for instance, I'll break it down into a example. Let's say that you have been wanting or wanting and desiring, they are interchangeably the same thing, but the frequency of the two are different. And what do I mean by frequency? I mean feeling. The feeling behind both of those words are different. And you'll have to figure out what those are for you. But for instance, a want is something that I don't really like deeply need or desire in my life, whereas a desire is something that I know is mine. I have that desire for a reason, and other people don't have it because it's not theirs. Like, it doesn't resonate with them. A desire resonates in your body. Like, you will feel it, you will smell it, hear it, taste it sometimes. Whereas a want is just something that you think you could want, but there isn't really any kind of feeling behind it. So, where was I going with that? Well, the desire, let's just say, you want that desire and you like keep working towards that goal. You're, going for it. And I even say goal, but it doesn't have to be that if that's too anxiety driven for you. But you have that thing and you're working towards it every single day. And let's say 3 months go by and you're like, dang, I should have had it by now. And then you get really, really down and depressed on yourself because you haven't received it yet. Well, that down and depressed and self sabotaging behavior is your pattern. Because anytime that we sit and question how hard we've worked or how long we've committed to our daily practices, how often we're unraveling ourselves, we tend to be our harshest critic. We tend to not see the magic of the fact that those 3 months created such rapid change in our life. And because we want it now, we want our result now. But what if you're not resonating at that desire yet? What if, just as a random example, you are committed to being a director or a CEO or of some sort, and you're sitting here like, why have I not made millions of dollars? Like, why am I 3 months into it and I've only made, $10? I mean, you probably made more than that, but still, you're like, why have I only made X amount? But what if, hear me out, what if you're not actually available for that amount that you want, that you desire? What if that amount is too much for you, even now? Because let's say you did have that. Let's say it did drop in your lap. Would it freak you out? Or would you know what to do with it? And when you do know what to do with it, where is it going? What's that feeling of where it's going? So all of these little things are connected, and grace is such a big, important piece of it because we give so many people second chances. We understand so many things that don't work out. We understand when they don't work out. And yet, when it's something we do, we can't even see that it's okay that we're coming up against something again and again and again, or that we hit a roadblock. It's okay. But how long are you going to sit in the woe is me? How long are you going to keep yourself from growing? How long are you going to put all your faith, all your work, all your love into everything outside of you when your soul is begging you to look at it, to feel it, to be one with it. Give yourself grace, my loves. You need to rest because you've been sick like me. Give yourself grace. You didn't hit that deadline. Give yourself grace. Now, if you were just really being lazy, maybe you need to look at that. But if you're doing the best that you absolutely can, and there is literally nothing else that you could have done, you've been doing your thing, you've been devoted, you've been working towards something, you just hit a roadblock. Can you see the magic in that roadblock? Maybe it's telling you to take a break. Maybe it's telling you the healing needs to chill. Because even on my journey, I need to chill. I'm sitting here and laughing because I'm like, that's why I got incredibly sick, because I needed to chill. And I'm laughing because, like, duh. Give yourself grace, guys. Give yourself grace because you're doing the best you can. And I even think about it from my dog's point of view. I have the most incredible dog. Her little personality is just different. And I sometimes wonder, like, what in the heck? How did I even connect with this dog? And yet I give her grace. I give her grace because I love her. So can you love yourself like those people or those things or those places that you have a weird relationship with? And I say weird, but it's not. But the ones that, like, there's just a soft spot for them. Can you give yourself the same grace that you would give that? Because grace is beautiful. We have to appreciate ourselves and know that our darkness, our light, our shadow, and our shadow just means the parts of ourselves that we don't really want to look at. We know that they are there, and yet we still just want to pretend like they're not. You know, maybe you don't know, but maybe your shadow is like you would rather stay in and read versus go out and party when you're actually the party girl right now. Maybe that's your shadow, is that you want to hide that part of you. And that's just an example, like an easy example, but where I'm going with this is that an important part of this journey of just unraveling who you are and really living soul aligned is getting honest with yourself and loving yourself more than anything in your life. Because you're your ride or die. No one else is. If you're lucky, then maybe you'll have a partnership, maybe you'll have a counterpart, maybe you'll have soul friendships. And maybe it'll take a long time for all of those things to come. So, guess what? You are the ride or die until, when, if, maybe not, those things come about in your life. So, you're just gonna wait around and not love yourself through it? I hope not. If you're here, I don't think so. But I can't make that decision for you. So, love yourself, give yourself grace, and in the moments that you can't do either one of those, come here, reach out to me, and I'll hold your hand. Because that's what I'm here for. And that's all I gotta say. Love ya!